Lita's going to be with us in a few minutes, and there she is. Right there. There's my Lita. Got my papers. I got my papers because that's just, I can't do all this stuff from memory. Hello? It's only this big. There's not much that can fit inside of there, so I need notes. God, I love her. I love Lita. I love Lita. My hair sucks because of these headphones. If I didn't I need earbuds, but we'll just make do with what we got right now.
Lita, do you ever have a problem with your headphones or your earbuds?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, I don't like things in my ears, so I don't wear earbuds. I like the old school, just like slap them on over my ears. But no, I mean, I kind of like that bed headphone messy,
You do.
You know, Kiki, you know.
Oh,
I mean, yeah.
But when you do your hair and then you got to put these things on and you're sitting here for a couple of hours and then you take them off, it's not pretty.
I hear you. It's like a baseball hat. Once you get that hat on, you're screwed.
That's it. But, baseball hats are cute.
Yeah. They're good for bad hair days, for sure.
So, Lita, I'm going to let you talk to Kiki. I'm going to go back in the woods. I love you. I love you a lot. You know that.
Oh, thank you so much. Back in the woods. Okay, have a good time.
I can't.
I get scared.
I live with this guy. You know what I mean?
I'm going to close my eyes forever. Goodbye.
Cool.
Lita, I'm going to introduce you. You don't need introducing, but I'm going to do it anyway because you deserve it. So you were only 18 when you released your first album with your first group, the Runaways, in 1976. That would be the first of 4 albums you would release with your all-female band. And just the fact that you were in an all-female band, that was definitely going against the grain. In the 1980s, you launched an extremely successful solo career, which led to your national best-selling book. You helped pave the way for women in rock, and you are hailed as the queen of heavy metal. And I will dub you one of the hardest working women in rock, Lita Ford.
That was awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What's going on? Tell me all about it. I mean, besides the hair and stuff, I'm listening to some good classic rock.
Fantastic.
That's fantastic.
Now, Lita, the last time you and I spoke was in 2017, and your schedule from then till now, I mean, really always is jam-packed. You had a huge summer schedule lined up, mostly with Tesla and Alice Cooper. Now, before all the craziness started, what were you most jazzed about doing this tour?
Oh, gosh. I just love to get out and play. Obviously, I mean, anybody who knows me that's seen our tour dates knows that. And I got a great band and I got a great crew, and we just have so much fun out on the road. I just think we were really looking forward to the summer and the spring of 220, and we were just really, all geared up, kind of all dressed up and nowhere to go now. So,
yeah.
We got off the cruise. We did the cruise in the beginning of March.
Right.
It was the 80s rock cruise. And it was just weird because this whole pandemic was coming down, and we were on the cruise ship. And, George, my partner, says, what happens if we get quarantined and they don't let us off the ship?
Right.
And I said, well, George, we just don't have that kind of karma. That's just not going to happen. So when we got off the ship, we were pretty happy about that.
Yeah.
Kiss the ground.
So now how was the vibe on the ship when you were there? Were people, thinking about it, talking about it, or were they just rocking out and saying, you know what, we're forgetting about it for now. We're here with Lita.
Well, it was a little of both, but what happened was 5 bands canceled on the ship. They had a bunch of bands, and one of the big ones was Bret Michaels. And, you either do or you don't. I mean,
yeah.
Me and my guys, we just sort of weather through everything. We beat blizzards and we beat the blazing heat and the blazing cold, and it's just like we just plow through everything.
Yeah.
But, I mean, some people, I know Brett had the big tour coming up with Motley Crue and Poison and Def Leppard, and I just feel like, the fans were a little the weather was bad on the cruise,
Oh.
so when we were sailing out to sea, the weather was coming towards us. And it just slowed everything down, and it was just like, okay. And then they pushed me back to the very last 2 days that we were on the cruise. And everybody had to wait all those days
Really?
before we got to play. And when we did play, first night everyone went nuts. And the very last night before the cruise ship docked in Florida, everyone was drunk and sunburnt because there was 2 days where the sun came out, and everybody just kind of soaked up as much sun as they could in a short amount of time, and I think it just wasted everybody.
So you were on the same cruise with my buddy John Payne, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because he was talking about how Brett had to cancel. And again, also, Brett's got the tour coming. Well, I don't know. I have tickets to that show. I have a feeling it's not happening. I don't know yet. But, Brett has a diabetes, so I get it. I mean, who else canceled, Lita?
Brett's healthy. He's strong like bull. He's sort of indestructible.
Yeah. Yeah, he's another one who goes out all the time, right?
Yeah, and he rocks his ass off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he works so hard out there, and the fans love him.
Yep.
He just gets everybody so pumped, and he's got a great band and a great crew. We love playing with Brett, so I don't know. I mean, I don't know what their plans are for their up-and-coming tour. I know that we don't go down lightly, and you can't get rid of us that easily. And it's going to take more than a virus to keep us away. The real problem lies with the states.
Yeah.
And each individual state has these representatives that come out to the venue and say, there's no gatherings for 250 people or more, and so you guys can't play tonight. You have to go home now.
Yeah.
I mean, that didn't happen to us, but it's happened to a few of the other bands.
Right.
And so they just turn around and leave, and nobody gets a concert. But as soon as those states give the clear for us to play, we're out. And
You're
I know,
done. Yeah.
I don't want to speak for the other bands, but I know they're pretty hardcore, and they don't go down easily.
Yeah.
They're not going to keep us away that easily.
That's why we love you. This is why we love Lita Ford. And I have to tell you, ever since I've been publicizing the fact that you were going to be on with me, and thank you so much for taking the time, by the way.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Well, Lita, everyone, I love Lita. Lita's awesome. Lita rocks. I mean, that has to be such a head trip for you in one respect. In another respect, must be so humbling because literally you are loved by so many people. And the staying power you have had is incredible.
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome. I mean, this is my life, and it's what I do, and it's what I love. This is my true love. It's my fans and rock and roll.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, we know it. We totally know it. Now, if we go back to 1975, the Runaways for you, 44 years ago. Now, do you remember, Lita, the very first time you stepped on that stage, and can you still recall the feelings that you had before you opened your mouth on that stage for the very first time?
As a solo artist or in the Runaways?
In the Runaways.
Oh, wow. Well, it was a learning experience. I mean, the whole ordeal, and each show was different than the next. And the Runaways played a lot of really weird venues, like high school cafeterias and
really?
standing on the tables and just a lot of weird stuff, underground, CBGBs. We loved CBGBs. And just, a lot of European clubs where the ceilings were so low.
Gosh.
And the places were packed full of people like sardines where the condensation was dripping down the walls.
Oh, my gosh.
It was just, and then my guitar, I used to have to watch the headstock on my guitar because I would hit it on the ceiling. Just weird stuff
Wow.
that really, it kind of sets you up for life. Those things you don't ever forget, and they
Right.
just become second nature. So now, I mean, thank God I don't have to go through that kind of stuff anymore, but it was
Yeah.
a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
How could it not be? And, when you joined the Runaways, though, was anybody, your parents were super, super supportive of you, as everyone knows, but how many people around you were saying, listen, you're joining an all-female band. This isn't a thing right now. What are you doing?
Well, we knew we were before our time, and we had a lot of guy fans. Like, the audience was all dudes. Like when we played overseas at these festivals outdoor, it was just a sea of denim and leather, all dudes, and I don't know that a female would dare enter that crowd.
Really?
And it was awesome. And then, it's just now all sort of come full circle, and it's not that way anymore, and people are accepting females in rock and roll and female musicians and singers, and it's okay. It's not like a thing anymore. Like, oh, they're females. Hey, let's look at their tits and ass. I mean, we're not. The Runaways were very, very sexual. Especially Cherie with her corset.
Yeah.
It was a very, very sexual band. But that's not what we were trying to do. I mean,
Right.
we were really trying to play music and play our instruments, and we did. But people didn't quite get that part of it. They had to look past the sexuality first.
Which
And
took
not
them
a lot of people could do that back then.
right. And you say, well, hey, we're chicks, we're playing rock and roll, but you are part of that revolution that got everybody to their mindset today, where it's no big deal, right? I mean, you're part of it. You are part of that, and that has to feel so damn good.
It's great. It's really great. I was just looking at some old interviews yesterday, because I speak to Lzzy Hale every once in a while.
Love her.
And, we did a photo shoot together, and some of the pictures got put into Guitar World magazine.
Cool.
And they popped up yesterday, and I was like, oh, I don't think I ever got to see these pictures.
Oh, wow.
And I was just reading the interview, and the gentleman who did the interview was actually talking about, how things have come full circle. And, somebody like Lzzy Hale, who's just so badass.
Yeah.
And a fan, a Lita fan. And, it's just things have come full circle now. And it's plain to see. It's just awesome. I'm very proud.
Oh, you should, and you really should be. And when you both played together, that had to be interesting too, because you have Lzzy, who is one generation, who looks up to you, and she's playing with you and is in awe of you. But in a sense, you had to be in awe of her too, because it's a totally different thing, but yet the same.
It was interesting, and it just went to show me how far things have come full circle. And like seeing Lzzy, I don't know if she still plays it now. Couple 3-4 years ago, I think it was 2016, she was playing the white double neck, but hers was a Gibson, and a completely different guitar than my white double neck, but then again, not different. I mean, it was sort of the same thing, same thing, only different.
Yeah.
And then she was playing the Explorer guitars. The Gibson Explorers were mine, or Hamer Explorers. But it was still all, an influence. And to see her on stage, I mean, she's like a wildcat, with her voice.
Yeah.
It's so powerful, and she really plays great guitar. So, I mean, it's like, wow, what's there not to like?
Right. Absolutely. So I have to ask you to please share the story about when you first got your first electric guitar and how you figured out to get an amp because you didn't have one. I love the story, but for some people who haven't heard it before, can you please share?
Oh, that's too funny. Well, my parents bought me, kind of a long story, my parents bought me this acoustic guitar. I wanted a guitar. I asked them for a guitar. And when I was 11 years old, my parents bought me a guitar for my birthday. But it was this like Sears Penny, J.C. Penney sort of model that I don't know. I think it must have cost them, $12 or something. And they bought it home and they gave it to me. And I looked at my mom and thought, well, it's a guitar. It's not the guitar I wanted. And she says, well, what kind of guitar do you want? And I said, well, I want one that, sounds like Black Sabbath.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, my mom, she was so great.
Yeah.
She just, oh, Lita, yeah, right, okay. So then I got my father's Sony. He had a Sony reel-to-reel, which is a tape, right? The tape that goes from one reel to the other. But these things are huge.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're as big as, your kitchen trash can. And my dad would play with it all the time, like he'd put on the echo. And as I was coming home, I could hear my father talk to this Sony reel-to-reel with the echo on, and he would say stuff like, Lita Ford, come into the house. And he spoke with a British accent. And so I got the idea that, if I plug my electric guitar into this Sony reel-to-reel and slap on the echo, then I can sound like somebody in Black Sabbath. And you know what? It worked. It was just awesome. I mean, the speakers.
How did you
on
figure
this
that
thing
out,
were
Lita?
huge.
How did you figure that out, though? Like, what made you say, hey, Like, how did you even get that?
You just got to try stuff.
Yeah. Well, that
You
was
just got to
good.
get creative and try stuff.
Well, it worked.
Yeah, it worked. I mean, of course, after that, I never used the Sony reel-to-reel again, but...
Really? You don't still have it?
No.
Dang it.
No, I don't. I know, right?
But something I'm going to ask you, do you still have the metallic shorts and the high silver boots that you used to wear? I mean, do you still have some of those stage outfits that you rocked back in the day?
I don't have them. There's a lot of stuff. I get rid of a lot of stuff. Like, I clean out my closet, and I get rid of piles and piles of stuff. And this is kind of sick, but this is true. When I got pregnant with my first son, my feet got like a half a size bigger.
Yeah,
and
I can relate.
Right, so I went from a size 7 to a size 7.5, and then all of a sudden, all my shoes were too tight. And I hate really tight shoes. Like, that's the thing with me. I will wear a half a size too big now because I don't like to feel cramped in my shoes. And then when you fly and you're in an airplane, your feet expand.
Mm-hmm.
And then, if somebody puts salt in your food, your feet expand. And it's just like, I need to make room for this stuff. So I had a closet full of boots and shoes stuff that I had collected from all over. And I put them all out in a yard sale one day.
Lita, you didn't. I can't right now. I'm having a mini heart attack right now.
I know. I mean, I don't even know what I was thinking that day, but it's just, I just wanted them gone. I just didn't want them in my closet anymore because they didn't fit.
I know, but just to keep like a few things, just a few,
And this was like 1997.
Yeah.
When I did this.
You were in one of those moods probably. I get it. I'm just getting rid of it.
Yeah. Just get it out of here. I mean, of course, now I could kick myself, because you can't get stuff like that anymore.
Right.
But, I mean, can you imagine buying all that stuff in a yard sale?
No. And then knowing, so did you run the yard? I love yard sales. So did you run the yard sale?
Well, me and my ex ran it, yeah.
Oh, my. And were people going, is that Lita Ford? Like,
no, because I was pregnant and I didn't have tattoos, and this was in some southern town in Florida, and it was on the beach, and it was okay. But it's weird because people recognize you from the weirdest things. You just do an interview or a picture or a little video clip or something, and don't even say where you are, and then they show up on your doorstep.
Come on, tell us that one.
It's just incredible. I mean, I don't even know how they know.
Well,
and they know the house and everything. It's just crazy.
Really? So who showed up on your doorstep? How did that happen?
Just some fans. I mean, this is when I lived in Florida. I did a little video clip in front of the house, and some fans came over. And I can't remember where the video clip got out, and a bunch of people saw it. And I swear to God, I was like, how did you know? It's just a beach.
So what did you do?
Well, I mean, of course, you don't invite them in for a beer or anything like that. You just kind of have to say, hey,
I need my privacy.
Lita's not here right now.
Oh, my. That's
but, I mean, it
crazy.
happens all the time.
Yeah.
It's just insane. And you try so hard to cover yourself, and people don't know who you are. You just have to throw in the towel sometimes and go, yep, that's me.
Well, we all know who you are. I mean, I think I could spot you anywhere. I really do. I mean,
I'm the one that sells the boots at the yard sale.
Gosh, if I was at that yard sale, dang it. I'm so mad. Now, Lita, do you
hard rock too?
Oh gosh. Love it. Now, Lita
might make you feel a little better.
I can't. I don't even want to discuss it, because you got to understand, I am a hardcore yard sailor. I sell stuff on eBay. I go to yard sales every weekend. So if I had only known, I would have been at your house at 5 a.m. sitting out in front of your house. That would have been
I'll
me.
let you know if I do it again.
All right. just Siam me or something.
I promise.
Now, Cherry Bomb, are you literally using the same guitar that you played back in the day when you first played that song?
Yeah, that's the same guitar.
Lita, does it, I know you've played it a million times now between, again, 44 year span here, but is there ever one time that you pick up that guitar and it brings you back, for a second? Do you ever feel that magical moment?
Oh, every time I play it.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that guitar, it just sits on you like an axe, that the way the headstock comes down and the way the back of the body comes up, and it just feels different than the other guitars. So when I put that on, I mean, it's like I'm just picking up from where I left off.
Oh, what a feeling. Really, none of us can even imagine how that must feel for you. And the fact that you're still playing and carrying that guitar around is pretty magical.
It's just a really great guitar. I mean, some guitars make it and some guitars don't.
Yeah. Peter Frampton lost his guitar for 30 years, so it's like...
Is that insane?
Right. So the fact that you really still have yours and you play it all the time is pretty crazy.
Yeah. Well, if you looked at the back of it, it's pretty
it's rough,
scratched up and stuff,
that gives it character.
It's still okay. It's just the cosmetics of the back, but I think it adds character. I kind of like it.
Absolutely. And it, like you said, it fits like it belongs on you. So
yeah, it just does, and you just sort of, it all comes back to you. It's like it doesn't matter about anything else. As soon as you put that on, it's like an old pair of jeans.
But you sold them in a yard sale.
Yeah, well, no, that was my boots. I didn't sell my jeans.
All right.
Although I might have. I don't know.
Now, in 82, you launched your first album, Out for Blood. You performed the song Rock and Roll Made Me What I Am Today, and you performed that song on Dance Fever with Denny Terrio. So, you're going from hardcore rock and roll to glam rock with Denny Terrio. So was that weird for you? How much of a transition did you have to do for that?
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, I wore my black leather pants, so...
There you go.
you know. And you know what was fun was I did the Arsenio Hall show. I don't know if you remember the Arsenio Hall show.
Of course.
And that was fun. He gave me a robe, like a terry cloth robe. It was a black terry cloth robe, and it said The Night Shift.
Oh, wow.
Arsenio Hall in white letters across the breast. And I wore it to death. I mean, I got rid of it. It's in the Hard Rock somewhere.
Oh, nice. Okay. All right.
The Hard Rock's got a lot of my stuff.
All right, good.
But those shows are a lot of fun to do, those shows. They're really fun. You know, I did Dick Clark and,
Yeah. Gosh.
you know, those are just classic shows.
Now, you did a Dick Clark 40th anniversary special in 92 for American Bandstand. David Cassidy, Greg Allman, Donny Osmond just were among the few that were there. Tell us about that night.
Oh, my gosh. You know, Donny Osmond, he's a hardcore heavy metal guy.
Come on.
I swear to God, he stood behind me when we were doing the show, and I turned around and I looked at him, and he's all dressed in black leather, and I said to him, you know, you're Donny Osmond. What are you doing? He's like, man, I love metal, and I could feel him just sort of breathing down my neck, you know.
Donny Osmond breathing down Lita's neck. That's so
but
funny.
it was musical. It wasn't sexual. It
Oh,
was all
yeah.
music.
Yeah.
And Clarence Clemens was there too.
Oh, gosh.
At that show. And that night, Clarence asked me if I would do, oh my God, that comedian, I'm drawing a blank. The comedian, he shaved his head and he does that money show.
Howie Mandel?
Howie Mandel. The Howie Mandel show, he had his own series.
Right.
And,
oh, my gosh.
Clarence Clemens, he had a live band because his own series was performed live at the Anaheim Convention Center. And he had a live band, and Clarence Clemens was the musical director and the leader of that live band. And Clarence asked me if I would do the series.
Oh, geez.
You know, like a little blonde guitar player with high heels. And I remember doing those long shows all day long. I had to stand there with my guitar on, and my feet were killing me by the end of the day with those heels.
Yeah,
But
I feel your pain.
Awesome, and Howie was amazing, and so fun to watch him up close and watch him work with all these amazing actors and comedians.
But I got to tell you, yep. Now behind me in my studio where I, record videos and go on the radio and stuff, I've got your second album right behind me here, Dancing on the Edge. It's still sealed, sitting in a frame. And the next time you came out with an album was in 88, I believe. That was your third album, and it was self-titled. Sharon Osborne became your manager. You released Close My Eyes Forever with Ozzy, Falling In and Out of Love. You, David Ezrin, and Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue, you guys wrote that one. And you did say that Nikki was your first love. So how did you both meet, and do you still connect with Nikki today?
Oh, yeah. I mean, how could anybody not love Nikki at 20 years old?
Right.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't talk to him too much anymore, but when we do ever see each other or ever speak to each other, it's really like talking to my brother. I feel like he's like my long-lost cousin or something, because there's a bond and there's a connection there in many ways, musically and when I first met him, it was just before Motley Crue became famous, before they got signed. They hadn't been signed yet, and so much to tell. I mean, it's just so much to tell. There's a lot of it in my book.
Right, your best-selling book, actually.
Yeah. It's a great story. I mean, there's just so much in there.
But you know what, Lita, I have to ask you a question, and you can answer it or not, but is there anyone you didn't talk about in the book that you hooked up with that you can reveal?
Oh, God. God.
Come
yeah,
on.
There's probably a whole list of people. I mean,
How about
geez.
one? Just give us one. One juicy little tidbit.
Well, it was funny because I was trying to explain a lot of things in the book about things that I did or things that I was doing, and then HarperCollins would call me or email me and say, Lita, do you really want to say that? And I'm like, well, you guys are always complaining that you get someone that's going to write a book, but they're not going to tell the full story because they don't want to piss off their kids or they don't want to piss off their spouse.
Yeah.
Well, here I am. I'm going to tell it all. And they were like, no.
But you did anyway.
No, I actually didn't. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there that I could probably write another book.
All right. So maybe you should do that because I would love to hear about it. And I think a lot of other people, because you got some good stories, I'm sure, in that back pocket of yours.
Oh, yeah.
As long as it doesn't go into a yard sale.
No.
Sorry, I can't let you live that one down.
Oh, God, I can't even live that one down. I know.
I can't. I just can't. No. So, Lita, drive-in concerts, that is now a coming up thing. What do you think about that?
Drive-in concerts? I haven't heard about that one.
Yeah, so they're starting to, bubble up some ideas to see what would possibly work during this time. I mean, any thoughts about maybe a new way of having a concert or,
Hell no.
Yeah.
Everyone just needs to come to the show, and we need to crank it as loud as possible.
Oh, I love it.
And rock out and sweat, and everyone just needs to be on top of each other.
You know what? I'm so with you.
Yeah.
You hate to say it. You don't want to be un-PC, but I have to tell you, I think about it all the time. I'm like, I just want to go to a show. I just want to be next to people. I just want to put my hand up in the air and scream and love what I'm hearing.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that point. I think, this virus thing is just weird, and I think we're just really lucky that it didn't get worse than it did.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already bad enough, and
Right.
a lot of people are out of so many jobs, and that's the sickening part, I think. Other than the deaths, and but it could have been so much worse, and I think we're on our way. I think it's on its way out now, hopefully. I think we're over the hump, and it's on its way out. And a lot of it is going to do, like I said before, with these different states. And if these different states open up and say, we're back in business, I don't think it's going to be one of those situations where everybody just rushes to a rock concert.
Yeah.
But we're going to have to sort of gear up again and work our way back up.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to take too long. I think once they basically open the floodgates, I think we're going to be okay to get out and do some live performances.
Good, because I'm there. I'm so there.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, I know you. You just, gosh, you are the hardest working woman in rock. I have to say it. And I will say it over and over again until I die. Because I look at your schedule all the time and go, how does she do that? Now, Lita, Stephanie from Rhode Island.
Warriors.
Yes, you are a rock warrior for sure. Now, Stephanie from Rhode Island would like to know who your favorite female guitarist is.
Female guitarist? I don't know.
How about male?
Well, I mean, I go through phases where I listen to something and I play it to death. And then I find something else and I listen to it and I play it to death.
Yeah.
So right now, my favorite band, what I'm listening to right now, is Rammstein.
Oh.
And I blast it like stupid hours of the morning. And those guitar players are just badass. They're so tight. And their tone and the way they tune down, and it's just badass. They're not really super like an Yngwie Malmsteen or anything like that. I mean, they're just really riffy and hardcore. And I just love that.
So do you think you'll carry some of that with you when you go back out again?
Oh, I always do. I always carry everything I learn from everybody.
Yeah. It's so cool. So cool. Now, Lita, you once said...
you got to take that with you.
Absolutely. Now, you once said music makes the world go round. Now, today more than ever, how does it feel for you, Lita Ford, to be part of the existence that, like for me, and I'm sure I'm speaking for a lot of people, many, many people, music gives life. You are part of that. How does that feel for you?
I'm just really grateful, and I love what I do, like I said, and it's my life, and that makes my world go round. You know, I mean, everywhere you go, there's music, and now all these old songs that were huge and famous, they're using them on a lot of TV commercials, and you just hear them. It just walking through somebody's building or something, you know, you hear music playing from somewhere, and it's just everybody has their songs. Even these religious groups have their religious music, and then, you know, of course, the heavy metalers have their heavy metal music, and it's just the country guys, you know, they have all their country music. It just makes everything so much better.
Yeah.
And people seem to have their song for whatever emotion they're going through or whatever struggles they're going through or their wedding or their birthday or whatever the situation is. It just makes everything so much better.
And we're so grateful that you're a part of that. You're a part of our culture, our everything. So we really greatly appreciate it. Living like a runaway. We're looking forward to part 2, Lita.
Well, it's sitting here right now.
Is it really?
Yes, it's sitting here. I'm just chomping at the bit, you know, so.
Chop, chop. Let's go. Come on. You got some time.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, we will definitely look forward to that. And guys, seriously, Lita has the coolest, this is no joke, the coolest merch on the planet at litafordonline.com. Anything you can possibly want. And if you want to look good for a show, go to that website, litafordonline.com. She's got everything you could possibly need, want, and you'll look like a rock star if you get something from it, right?
Yeah, man.
So, Lita, hopefully you can get back out there as soon as it's safe for everyone. Thank you so, so much for keeping us rocking through everything, good, bad, whatever, because you are awesome. We appreciate you. And again, thank you for taking time out of your day to hang out with us. We love you.
Oh, thank you so much, Kiki. You're the best, and thank you guys for listening.